guys, it's Arena. Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to tell you about 8 EDS hacks that you've probably never heard of and that are actually super useful. So usually when I go on the internet and I look up hacks for disabilities or for EDS, I always get the same like 3 hacks that are kind of helpful, and there's nothing new that I haven't heard of already before. So I really wanted to make a video for you guys that's something totally new that you haven't tried before and is actually really helpful. So here are my favorite EDS hacks that you've probably never heard of. So let's get into it. We all probably take a lot of medication, and if you have to crush your medication like I do to put it in a feeding tube or just to make it easier to swallow, any other reason like that, you know that those manual pill crushers, you know the ones I'm talking about where you crank them and they're awful. I hate them. So I got an herb grinder off of Amazon. It works really well for pills too. So you just open it, take the top off, and it kind of just looks like a mini blender. So you put your pills in here. I can put like upwards of 8 like pretty big sized pills in this one thing and crush them all at the same time. You open it, you turn it on, and a nice safety feature is it won't turn on if the cap isn't on it. So you don't have to worry about hurting yourself. And then you screw it back on. I'm not gonna actually press it because it's really loud and it's kind of annoying sounding, but it works pretty quick. And then you can either take the cap back off like this, pour it into a syringe, or you can take the very top of it off and just pour it in, which is really nifty. This top actually fits perfectly into just about every feeding tube syringe that I have. So it's like a match made in heaven. I'm obsessed with these. The only downfall is that since it's not usually made for hard pills, the motor will die within about a year. So this one's about a year old. It needs to be replaced, but for lasting for a year for $40 and saving my hands, it's totally worth it. Any products that I use, I will have linked down below. They're not sponsored or anything. Obviously, I'm a little baby creator, but I just want to help you guys out. So they'll all be linked below. Here's a little secondary hack for that. If for some reason the motor died or you're out of charge, they are rechargeable, and you're like on vacation or something, you can't get any way to charge it, but you still need your pills crushed, you can actually get like a mug or a cup of some kind, put your pills in them, and this actually works really well as a pestle, like mortar and pestle. I crushed like 10 pills earlier today just to test it, and it was all crushed perfectly within like a minute, and it didn't really take that much effort on my end. Show y'all with a Benadryl pill, and that's actually my next hack. So if you have EDS, you probably have Benadryl on standby too. For some reason, people with EDS have a lot of extra allergic reactions for some reason. So you pretty much always have Benadryl on standby. Sometimes you don't necessarily need to take a Benadryl pill, but if you have a rash or something, you want to put some topical Benadryl on it. It's sometimes annoying to carry a ton of medication with you. So what I like to do sometimes is I'll actually crush up a Benadryl. Let's see if I can show you. But yeah, that worked so well with the little mortar and pestle style. So I'll crush up the Benadryl, and then I'll put a little bit of like a cream or like a lotion or something, and I'll mix it in and make my own topical Benadryl. And actually I use it on my feeding tube a lot. If you've never tried putting Benadryl on your feeding tube stoma and you have EDS, that actually could be contributing a lot to some irritation around your feeding tube, is actually reacting to the stoma itself. And I found that that helps my granulation tissue and irritation and just overall stoma a ton. Now, will it cure everything? Probably not, but if you haven't tried it, definitely make your own topical Benadryl on the go. Now, the last pill-related hack I have is how to keep track of medications that you use as needed, whether that's pain medication or POTS medication or muscle relaxers or anything like that. For me, it can be kind of tricky to make sure that I'm pacing it correctly so I'll have enough until the next refill, or just I like to keep track of how many I've used and that sort of thing. And if you have like a ton of pills in one bottle, it can be kind of overwhelming to count them every single time you want to know. So what I like to do is I have my little pill bottle and I get a little dry erase marker, and you can actually dry erase numbers onto the top of the lid, and then it comes right off and you can write the next number, and it's super easy to keep track of how many pills you have left. I don't know, it's just so simple, and I never thought of doing that until recently. Alright, my next hack I think we're all gonna love, no matter what kind of disability you have, or even just like girls in general. We love our heating pads, right? This is my favorite heating pad of all time. It's super big and it's weighted. So when I put it on my stomach or my back, it doesn't like flap around and shift and fall off because it's weighted. It kind of like sticks to you better, if that makes sense. But that's not the hack. So I actually have 3 of these. I have one on my bed, one on the couch, and then one that I kind of just tote around with me. And it's so nice to not have to like unplug it, find a new plug, unplug other stuff if I'm going to the couch or my bed or wherever. I just have a heating pad there already. And actually my roommates love having the couch heating pad too. It's just like ready for anyone who needs it. It's always there, and I don't know, just having multiple heating pads in all of your favorite places is just such a game changer, and I feel like we don't think to do that. So definitely have more than one heating pad in all of your favorite spots. My next hack is for my feeding tube girlies. So if you're like me and you travel a lot and you also forget to charge your pump all the time, this little adapter from, I think it's called Tubitech on Etsy. It's super cute. You can pick your color, so I got pink. It's actually an adapter that goes into a USB-C cord, so it fits perfectly into your feeding tube pump, and you can actually charge it just with a USB-C charging cord. So it plugs right in, and now I can charge my pump on the go with this external battery, portable battery. You can plug it into a wall, you can take it with you in the car. It's so helpful. So yeah, love having this setup available. Yeah. This is my service dog, Elliot. He came to say hi. So, funny story, this is not a hack, but I actually get very potsy when I talk a lot. So these kind of videos tend to make my heart rate go really high, and I'm very likely to pass out. So he's actually working for me right now. He's helping regulate my heart rate. So yeah, that's a fun little moment for you guys. Thank you, buddy. You're so good. All right, on to our next hack. I think he might be alerting now. Sorry guys, give me a minute. All right, so my next hack has to do with fashion. So if you have a feeding tube or mobility aids or just anything that kind of makes shopping a little more difficult for you, get comfortable with a sewing machine and other kinds of clothing adaptations, because you can actually do so many cool things with clothes just with a few stitches. It's hard for me to wear like a dress or like a one-piece swimsuit if I have my feeding tube or my infusions going. So I sewed a hole in the pocket in the shorts, so my feeding tube can actually thread out the pocket and out the bottom of the dress without really impeding the dress or like having the skirt lift up awkwardly. So I've done that to a lot of things. I've adjusted hemlines, I've let out the waist or brought them back in, all kinds of stuff just to make things work better for me. And that can open the door to a lot of fun fashion, even if they weren't necessarily created for you to begin with. Alright, and my next hack is on your cell phone. If you have an iPhone, which a lot of us do, it's a text shortcut. So I'm gonna go ahead and start screen recording and pop up on here what I'm showing you. If you go with me to general, then to your keyboards, and then to text replacement, you can make some pretty handy shortcuts when it comes to EDS and letting people know how you're doing, or even just like constant medical words. Okay, so your phrase is what you want to actually say. So let's say, for example, I use Ehlers-Danlos syndrome a lot. And this is actually a good one to put in as a shortcut because Apple Dictionary doesn't always recognize EDS as like actual words, and it'll always try to correct it, like spell check it, even though you're typing it correctly. So I type out Ehlers-Danlos syndrome all the way, and then for my shortcut, I just put EDS, and then I'll save it. And then if I go to messages, every time I type EDS, it'll replace to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is pretty cool. So I do like to use the shortcut EDS, so instead of just EDS for my shortcut, I'm gonna put EDS full. So that's how my phone will know to type out the full Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So let's try it again. There you go. Now this next hack with our text replacement isn't going to be getting around spell check. It's actually going to be a message you can send out to friends and family if you're not feeling well and you might not get back to them for a while, or if you're just low energy and don't want to send out a full "I read it but I can't text you back right now" text. So let's go ahead and come up with our message. So my message reads, "Hey, I don't have a ton of energy to get back to you. I will get back to you as soon as I can." And my shortcut is going to be low energy with no spaces, just so it's unique, and if I actually want to say low energy, it doesn't get replaced. So we're gonna save that. And then if a friend sends me a text and I really want them to know that I saw the text and I'm thinking of them, but I can't respond right now, I can type in low energy and it sends the full message, which I think is pretty cool. So you can make all kinds of fun messages and shortcuts and spell check workarounds using that feature, which I think is pretty cool. So my next hack helps people with POTS or Raynaud's or other temperature regulation issues. So I tend to get really hot sometimes because I live in Texas, and I don't always have the ability to like carry around an ice pack with me just to cool myself off. Maybe I'm out for like hours at a time and it'll melt, or I just don't want like a wet ice pack on me. So having these instant cold packs is a really awesome way to have some kind of cold ability with you, and they are always ready to go. You don't have to keep them in a cooler, and they actually get pretty cold. So if I get like nauseous in the car or something, this is like a perfect way to like cool myself off, help myself feel a little better. And you can also bring instant heat packs if you get Raynaud's and your hands kind of turn purple, which also happens to me. But these are like super portable, super easy to throw in a backpack and always have ready, just to help you regulate your temperature a little bit better or manage symptoms. If you have like an ouchy joint, or if you want a heat pack on your stomach, all that kind of stuff. So these are actually super helpful, super portable, and I got a huge pack of these on Amazon for a pretty good price. All right, and then my last hack is just purely artistic. If you have a pretty cool wheelchair like I do, but you can't decide on a color, there's a really easy, fun, and fast way to change the color to pretty much any color you could want. And that is with vinyl. So this is vinyl that I got off of Amazon too, and it's like this iridescent kind of pearl, and it glows in the dark, which is pretty cool. And I also vinyl wrapped the wheel hubs on my power assist wheels, because standard they came kind of like a dark gray color, which I didn't think looked very good with like the black on the rest of my chair. So I vinyl wrapped the wheel hubs and the frame of my chair, so you can change the colors super easily. It comes off really easily, and this has been on for months and it still looks great, it stays great. All you'll need is probably some alcohol wipes to clean off the frame, an X-Acto knife to cut exactly the perfect angles and everything, and then some vinyl, and you're good to go. This was probably $10, and I didn't even use the whole roll. I could probably use the roll several times. So it's super cheap, super fast, super easy, and it just like makes having a wheelchair that much more fun, because you can change the colors anytime you want and to any color you want without paying for a whole new several $1,000 frame. It also was super helpful to me because I didn't want to commit to a color. It was such a hard decision for me to pick a color, and now I know that I don't really have to pick a color. I can go with any color that I want. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if any of these are helpful to you, let me know. And if you have any pretty interesting or not that common hacks for EDS, also let me know in the comments, because I'm always looking for more hacks to make my life easier. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, and love you guys, and hope to see you in the next one. See ya! Bye!